Hello and welcome. It is Tuesday noon in Mountain Time Zone. And
Yes.
we're having so much fun. It's what we would like to talk about today is the idea of Earth as a teacher. Now, I am very clear that there is people who consider Earth as a conscious being, and then Earth being a teacher makes perfect sense. And if you consider Earth being a rock in space that is part of the universe, then why could Earth teach me anything? I mean, Earth doesn't think like I do, Earth doesn't behave like I do. So, what is that all about? And how much are we concluding that a conscious being or a intellectual being uh, are behaving exactly in the same way? Is consciousness intellectual cognition? I don't think so. And in some way, looking at what we humans have accomplished in the short time that we are on Earth, we're probably the least conscious and most stupid species on Earth. I mean, we managed to destroy a lot in this short time. So, from that perspective, I'm looking at what can we learn from the Earth? Because the Earth is still around. The animals are still around despite extinctions. And what can we learn from that?
It is an interesting question, Corinna. And I can say for me, even this question every day changes in energy, like becoming more and more aware that, wow, Earth really, really can teach us a lot. And as you started the being intelligent or conscious, if that would be the same, we wouldn't end up like it is now. We wouldn't have destroyed so much. And I would like to share some experience I had before our call of the way and the simplicity Earth can be teaching us things. I was pre-preparing the dinner and I was cleaning and cutting the vegetables. And within my gratitude for it, I was also in communion with the earth and talking to the earth. And as a sudden, it came back to me as, what do you think? I am the earth. I am creating and generating from the relaxation, not from the contraction. So I know that at that time, the earth was aware of some contraction in my body, as from, oh, I'm really gonna prepare the dinner so I can have it in time because there is another call coming on and I want to be on it. So conclusion. Leave one question to my body. Body, are you okay that we will do it in this way, like pre-preparing, having our call now, then having dinner and going on to another call. So yeah, without being really conscious of that contraction in my body, the earth showed me, called me on that. And immediately for me, it was clear, yes, we human beings, the intelligence we use, could it be that this intelligence you are speaking about, that is the contraction that limits us in a way we never could think about it? It is limiting us.
And I would agree in the way that we never would consider it. Yeah. Because based on our intelligence, we come up with all kinds of ideas of what we should be doing or should not be doing, how much judgment is right there with the should or should not. And if there is one thing for sure with judgment from my perspective, judgment is contractive. Judgment does not allow me to be expansive. For that, I have to get out of judgment. And there again is the earth, because does the earth judge?
Yeah.
Doesn't. And that is part of the reason, on the other hand, why we feel so comfortable when we are out in nature. We're not surrounded by judgment as we are at home, quote unquote, home.
Yeah. And that does us relax.
Yeah.
Nature melts us. And in general, I always was a bright person, like easily happy and laughing and joy. And now, now joy, or what I was the artificial bright person and brightness, and from the intelligence and from the contraction. So in that moment before, when the earth showed me, my happiness, my joy expanded immediately. And it is really, I can laugh with my own stupidity, with my own stupidity as, yeah, you see,
Yeah. And
that's, yeah, go.
I mean, that's the same thing for me. Is I have those ideas and thoughts and conclusions, and then I observe either animals or just really observe in the sense of being energetically present, the earth, and I better let go of all that stuff because it's not real. It's an invention that I have come up with based on what society tells us.
Yeah, and could it be also that society tells us also what is valuable and what not?
Yeah.
And how often do we hear that relaxation and leaning back and being is considered by human beings, community, the society as lazy,
Yeah.
as not valuable,
Yeah.
as not creating, as not you are going, the sky is the limit.
But you saying that just made me realize how much are we having the idea that creation happens by force. And relaxation is definitely not by force.
Yeah, as relaxation is some you don't do because it's nothing.
And what if by relaxing, I actually have more awareness that contributes to my creation instead of having to force it, having to push it because of what intellectually, I decided how it had to be.
For sure, because I can tell in those few seconds Earth was telling me about relaxation. It was immense, yeah, immensely things getting clear, far more than only that one thing Earth was telling me. And isn't it also when we are, as you say, we go in contraction because we have to decide, we have to compute all those things, how it will go and go and go, that we only see within those lines. And we miss so much of the possibilities, so many possibilities. And when there is someone or a music or the nature or whatever, it can be a person that let you know, relax, expand, and everything melts and the possibilities are there.
I
It's
mean,
an amazing structure. It's not a structure. That's it. It's not a structure.
yeah. And how much are we actually hurting ourselves by setting deadlines? And I just was basically working with that and uh, judging myself, to be honest, for procrastinating, for not getting on with it, the usual da 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 da. And yes, I finished things a day late, so to speak. And from my perspective, so much better, so much more complete, in a sense, having so much more information in it than what I would have done if I would have forced myself to finish it yesterday.
Can I ask you a question?
Sure.
Because there is an energy that grabs me when you are speaking. So could it be that what you call better and more complete, could it be that it is more congruent with the energies you got what it wanted to like to be?
Yeah. What it would like to be, and also uh, energies that through the way I'm phrasing it, it's
Yeah.
first of all congruent with me, but it also is contributing more to the recipient.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Uh,
Yeah, congruent in every layer.
yeah. And sometimes that just takes time. And does it really matter if it's done a day earlier or later? Does the world go under because I didn't finish it yesterday?
Yeah, so true. Because I have the experience there also, then it looks like procrastination. It looks like delaying, delaying, delaying. But when every energy is swirling and going,
Yeah. And
as
come
a sudden it's done.
yeah. It gets done in a sense with ease.
Yeah. Yeah.
And, I had yesterday, I was struggling with how do I talk about this? How do I talk about that? Today, it was just, oh, okay. Let's say it this way, or let's say it that way. And it made perfect sense. And I found the right images to go with it and everything. It just, it's almost like it's falling together.
And could it be because and I know you are really good with it also, asking questions, could it be that sitting with it yesterday when it didn't go as smoothly as thought, so you didn't end up, but you were in questions, that over the night,
Mhm.
in a way,
Yeah.
over the night, you got the awarenesses.
Not just overnight, but also the rest of yesterday when I stopped forcing things.
Yeah.
When I just
So
said,
isn't
okay,
that,
this is not working.
yeah. So when we look at this, we can judge ourselves for being procrastinating ourselves and every creation. But is it truly, as you see, that the yeah, you got so many awarenesses that it went with ease a day after?
Yeah. And is, you know, on some level, I always chuckle because we have on the calendar is this is begin of winter, begin of spring, begin of, uh, does the earth have these states that the earth knows that, oh, today I need to start blooming because it's spring? No, the earth does what is appropriate for the time, for the temperatures, for the area, for the, and uh,
The cycles, the
can you,
cycles it needs also. It's required
yeah,
to generate. Yeah.
yeah. And what if that is the same thing as we enforce deadlines on us independently if the time for that deadline is actually there?
Yeah. Yeah. I'm really getting it for myself the same way. And beside that, there are things we have to do in a certain time, as yeah, going with the taxes. There is a date. The government says you have to put it in, so that's something you have to do. Or for school or jobs, there are hours to complete, etc., etc. So yeah, those things we go with it. And I believe for me, that's why I loved to have my own business, to take it in my
Yeah,
hands, because the force that brings is not always ease. And yet I know we can go with other tools and questions to bring in more ease, for sure. But when it is to create what works for me, then I choose different.
can I ask you a question now?
Yeah.
How much do you create when you are in a 9 to 5 job?
Me,
Or anybody else for that matter?
and I can say I never was in a job, a 9 to 5.
Yeah. But how
I
much
never
are you
chose it.
checking off to-do
Yeah,
list?
yeah, yeah. It's something that somehow never worked for me. I had a job in the care, and the hours were early mornings, afternoons, late nights, weekends. So it was always different. Every week it was different.
Mhm.
And then I started my own business. So yeah, I could go with what worked for me. Yeah, it's interesting.
I mean, we we sort of have decided that we are creating when we are in a regular 9 to 5 job. But are we truly creating?
That's interesting because the question that's coming up now for me is, what is creation?
Uh-huh.
What is truly creation? And as we look at nature and earth, yes, earth has a certain and the seasons come and go.
There is a rhythm to
So
it, yes.
there is a certain rhythm, but not in linear time,
Mm-hmm.
not with the calendar. As you say, the calendar says, yes, now it's spring, now it's winter, now it's summer. What is that? What is that?
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. Hmm. Interesting, really. Interesting. And something that's coming up now for me is also, but what is it with technology? Because, yeah, technology helped us a lot. If it wasn't of technology, we wouldn't be here now because we are so far away one another. And yet, by this medium of the computer, of the internet, we can create.
Mm-hmm. But the question that I have is how far have we allowed technology to take over and dictate things? And how far have we done what we say technology is doing, is making our life easier?
Hmm. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
from my perspective, you know, how far has technology actually complicated our life?
Yeah. Yeah. I get the energy of what you are speaking about.
I mean, as I said, I
Yeah.
need to have a faster internet. Or, I've lately had to deal with the fact that I had extremely unstable internet, which means if I'm live streaming a class, I may have nothing comes through. Okay, now it comes through, or, I have to deal with the fact that for a day I may not have internet. As a sudden, I realize how much am I actually dependent on the internet, and how much have I lost the ability to be flexible and just shift gears and do something else? Do I
Hmm.
really need to do this now as I pretend to? Or could I do something else instead and do it tomorrow?
Yeah, true story. And how take we also all this technology and internet for granted, as
Yeah.
it is like we open, yeah, the water tap and the water is there. We
Or the
take it for granted.
refrigerator works, or the
Yeah,
heater works,
yeah.
or.
I saw last week it was some documentary about waters and the bottled water, but in the
Mhm,
plastic bottles, and how it went, and it made me sick,
mhm,
as though they sell water which come from nature, which steal, because for me it's stealing the energy of stealing. They steal the water, the natural water earth gives to the inhabitants there, people there. So they are dry because they don't have it. They are poor because of the rules there,
mhm,
and they live there with an amount and, yeah, a source of water, and the ground is drying, and they sell. So when I got that more clear and clear in depth, it was like, yeah, it's amazing. And that is far more than the contamination of the plastic.
mhm.
It goes
Yeah,
beyond that.
Yeah, they are incredibly lowering the aquifers.
Yeah, yeah, everything is drying up.
And it's selling it instead of it being available. The earth
Yeah,
would give it to us for free.
yeah,
Now we have to buy the supposedly beautiful water.
yeah. And because there isn't enough, then they go to the tap and then they put the tap water into the bottle, but they sell it still that it is of the natural source and all those. Yeah, it's incredibly what is coming to the surface now of what was hidden for so
Mm-hmm.
long. And still, it is amazing. It is amazing how many people still close their eyes and shut their ears. So, yeah, what can we change really if we allow Earth being our teacher?
The one thing that is true for the earth is the earth is present with what is. And for us humans, it's so often inconvenient or uncomfortable to be present with what is. Just to stay with your example.
Yeah,
And that applies to so many other areas of life where we're not willing to actually see, like, I got really sort of, yeah, it was a total surprise realizing how much people believe that dealing with climate change is a very complex and complicated and difficult thing. So we need to have the scientific research first before we can do anything. And that's why we can't do anything. And then I look at the fact that if we would have cover crop year round, we would draw down so much CO2 that it wouldn't take long to solve the CO2 problem that we have,
yeah.
problem quote unquote. And it also reminds me we label it a problem and therefore making it a problem instead of seeing that it isn't a problem, it's just a problem because we judge it as negative.
And truth is human being not thriving from problems, inventing problems. So we have always to do something, always to look for a solution.
How true.
Yeah. And where is the relaxation? It isn't.
It
Because when
is.
you go and go and go and go and go inventing problems to have something to do,
Yeah. So we can struggle. And
yes.
struggle is the proof that we are alive.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Because you are judged when everything looks like it's going, even when there is a considering a problem, there is a problem, and you go with it with ease.
Mm-hmm.
And even then you are judged because truly, definitely it wasn't a problem, but
Yeah.
there was no struggle.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Or something that you're doing wrong.
yeah, 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 yeah. And aren't you ashamed?
Yeah.
Wow, Corinna, I loved really again this conversation.
It's really great. And you know, as you said, how much ease could we have if we would be willing to learn from the earth? The earth is just present with what is, and it's basically asking, so what is required to support life, because that's the only agenda that the earth has, to support life, to create more abundance. And we don't look at it as abundance, but if you actually look at it, what are the weeds that are growing on a abandoned parking lot? It's life being abundant, you know.
And how many weeds aren't from beauty that is judged as you can't be here?
Is judged, and how many weeds are actually medicinal?
True. True story.
Are good
Yeah.
for us if we would be willing to look at it from a different perspective.
Yeah.
And how
But
much
that
do
can
we
be
have?
another, this topic can be another live, another conversation. But when we go into that, it will lead us to
Yeah,
whatever,
we can
but
go
a
forever.
bigger spectrum.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So,
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
so where can we go next time? And I hope that you are joining us uh, next week, same time, same station. And
Yeah, and we are also open for ideas
yeah,
or questions
put
to,
something in the comments if you want something different. So, yeah.
yeah. Thank you, Corinna, and
Thank
take care. See
thank
you next
you
week.
and see you next week.